Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. What I thought we'd do today is I'm working on a new journal. So I thought we'd start to work our way through it. And you can either craft along with me or watch what I'm doing, get a few ideas and head off in your merry own way. I started this journal during the week, as in has 3 signatures, which I've attached and sewn into just a strip of chipboard, about that thick, because that's an offcut from it. You can see I've used it for an offcut for lots of things, and covered it with it's a ribbon of sorts, but it looks like corkboard. So I just picked it up in one of the dollar shops, but it's just a little bit different. Started off with an actual book. Here we go. Oh. So there's my book that I've gutted. So that was the size of the book that was in there. It was just a very small book, and it is a bit over 6 inches by not quite 4 1/4 inches was the size of the book. So it's smaller than my normal ones that I do. But I just wanted to do something. Normally I work on altered books. So this will be my first all the way through sewn in signatures junk journal. I love my altered books because I can play around with them as I go, and I use the covers. So this time I decided to gut my cover. So as you can see, he's all gutted and taken out, and more book pages for me to play with because I like that. You all know that. And started by gutting my cover, which gave me the size for my signatures. Went through, grabbed a few papers. So everything in here, I had some coffee dyed papers, I had some tea dyed papers, I had some old envelopes, I've got some grid paper. So each signature, hang on a moment, let's have a look. Here we go. So 1, 2, now this is scrapbook paper. I don't know if you can see that, but it has like a velvet embossed image on there. So I've cut it a little bit longer and then folded over my end to make a pocket. So 1, 2, 3, I won't count the doily at the moment, 4, 5. So I just 5 sheets cut to size. So each sheet was round about 7 3/4 to 8 inches, about 8 inches by, of course, the just under 6 inches, so 5 3/4 inches, so that it sits in my book. And then I added some envelopes. So some are your long ones, which I've slit that way on the side to make a side loading pocket. Some are, let's have a look. I've put an envelope in each signature. Some are normal C6 size, which are your normal standard card size envelopes. And those ones I've slit at the top. Oh, look, there's a bit that's open, so we'll just glue him back down. I've used a little bit of scrapbook paper, as I said. Just the bits that were sitting on my desk. I just wanted to use up, you know me, I like to clean up my desk by using them. I spent last weekend with friends, all just doing our own little craft things. So we had one friend doing cards, a couple of friends doing scrapbook layouts. I was working on embellishments. Did up a few embellishments while I was there. So just, whoop, lost him. I liked him. I'll find him in a minute. Just ones that can be used as tags, journal tucks, big ones for large journals, and some playing cards. That's how this started. I came home with all of these and wanted to use some of them. So consequently, there's my first one. This strange way my mind works, really. I then started just grabbing up some papers that were sitting on my desk. Some were already stained, like these ones, my coffee dyed ones and my tea dyed ones. The rest were just plain ones sitting around. Oh, look, my desk is such a mess. Christmas is coming. I've got some holidays from work and I'm going to clean all this up, I promise. The rest I then just either tea dyed or coffee dyed now on the fly. Donna Phillips from Junk Journal Ideas did a wonderful tutorial a couple of weeks ago, and if I can find it, I'll put the link in, of just on the fly. And she had a little cup of coffee dyed paper and a paintbrush, and she just swiped over it as she was working. And that's what I did. So all these little bits and pieces that I picked up, and I went, I'd rather it go in this. So I just went over them. Here we go, I've got a collection of bits here ready to go for this journal. So I'll check bits and all the rest that I just then either I think those ones were tea dyed. Some of my laces were coffee dyed, some were then tea dyed, and just set them on my desk to dry, ready for this journal, so that all my scraps that were sitting around would go with this. So I started with my 5 pages, which of course become 10 pages, tucked in, as I said, some envelopes, some doilies, which I then tea dyed while I was there as well, and made up 3 signatures. They've got all sorts of things that I had sitting on my desk. I then, with my book, I put some, what did I use? I used really strong duct tape that I have sitting here down my spine, just to keep my spine nice and intact and nice and flat. I then put more of that ribbon, which is in that corkboard type thing, over the duct tape to cover up the duct tape. And my signatures, as I said, I've sewn onto there with the standard 3 holes, top, middle, bottom, and then adhered them into my book. While I was still playing around with that, I did the cover of my book. Now, this was a bright red novel. I can't read what it was anymore, but I've just painted it with plain acrylic paint. Now, it's a semi-matte. That's all I used. It was a Montmartre one. I've got lots of different acrylic paints, so that was the first black that I picked up. I've probably got 2 or 3 different brands, but, you know, you can see this worked. Oh, I did sand it down a little bit first. Because it was that bright red and it was a little bit shiny to start with, I wasn't certain how well this paint would adhere to it, so I did sand it down a little bit first of all. I've then, once it was dry, popped a stencil on the front and with a texture paste. Now you can buy them in black, or if you've got them in the white, put a little bit of black acrylic paint with it and mix it, and you'll make yourself a black texture paste. So I've stenciled over the front using my black texture paste. I've then heat embossed with another stencil in a copper embossing powder over a script stencil. I'd show you that, but I've put it somewhere and can't find it. Got to find it because I love it. Once all that was dry, and it didn't take that long, admittedly, it's been hot here this week, so if you're in a colder climate, it might take a little bit longer. It's your texture paste that might take a little bit longer. I've then got some copper paint and just popped it on a little piece of paper, and with my finger gone around the edges and then lightly dabbed onto my texture paste, just so that it brings up, I don't know if you can see that beautifully. There we go. Just so that it brings up all that copper in that. So that was the start of my book. Now, most of my stuff is aged looking, all in those sepia tones and all the rest. So that's what this will be all the way through. Oh, there you go. You can see all my fingerprints from the red where I've sanded it down. What I'm going to do with my front cover is I photocopied an old map book. So this is the world as it looked in 1529. So I've just photocopied it, but copied it out in just black so that it didn't have any of the colours of the different continents or anything else. I've then just very lightly gone over it. Excuse me a moment. Sorry, tickle. I've gone very lightly over it with paintbrush with tea. So I've tea dyed just the front. You can see that the back hasn't really been touched. And I'm going to use these on the front, which will butt up to this ribbon. I then want, just again, I've got some scraps of lace, and I'm going to just butt those up to there so that this page will be sitting in here. And this will sit down like so. That's what I plan to do with my front cover. That's not going to be today's job though, but we will do that. This will just, it'll probably be a 2 or 3 parter, and we'll work our way through the entire journal. Right, so my first one's already on there because that's how this started. As I said, my mind works in mysterious ways. This was one of the little tags that I did last week when I was sitting with friends. So I already attached him on just so that I knew as well that that was my first signature. A little bit of writing space. I like writing space in my journals, whether they're for me or whether I sell them. You need to have that little bit of writing space. I like to fill them. I like lots of tags and tucks and all the rest, but I want to make sure that I've got lots and lots of writing space. So, as I said, this one with the embossed felt look, I've just folded over and glued straight down here. I had 2 of these in here. There we go. There's my last one. I've done the same with. While it's drying, I just tend to pop paper clips on there just to hold it down. Because it was a scrapbook paper and it was that velvet embossed, it was quite thick, so I needed something to really clamp it down. So that's where I've done that one. And I will trim that where I haven't folded it beautifully, because that's me all over. And I'll just trim down there. And it may have been my cutting in the first place because that side's straight. So I'd say it was my cutting. Right, we'll work our way through. This one I want one like this, which will just sit in here. These are just normal index cards, and I've just decorated the front. It's already got my lines on there for my journaling, and he'll just tuck in there. So how easy was that? This is just beautiful. I love this. Now, I could leave it as it is. Oh, here it is. That's another one that I've done ready for this one. I could leave this as it is, or I could pop just a little tuck spot down here, which is what I'm going to actually do, so that I don't lose too much of all of this. I just want to do a little triangular tuck spot down here. So I've pulled out a pile of scrapbook papers, paper pads, just bits of paper and all the rest that I want to use for this journal. So this is everything I'm going to be using on this. So it's just a matter of finding, and I've got so many paper pads for years and years and years that I don't know whether you guys like me or not. I will get something and go, oh, that's just so beautiful. I can't use it. Because if I use it, what if I want it for something even better next week? So they sit there and they sit there and they sit there. And every now and again I pull them out and I and I are over them, and they're just too beautiful to use, and they get slotted back in. I have got to start using these guys. There's no real yellow in that. I do have this one. It's a Prima one. Again, a good friend gave me this the other week. Now, there's some little squares already done in here. Let's just have a look. See, if I cut that corner-wise, I'm going to lose most of that. That one might work, because I just want a little bit. We'll go that yellow, which is what we should have done in the first place. So, I'm just going to go straight down, move some of my mess, and I've got so much mess. Right, so all I want to do for this one is just make a little corner. So I'm just literally going to take it down to my arm. I might take it up a little bit just so that it's got a bit more there, and straight down. This is all I want. So that when we go on, now I can sit it right in the corner. I quite like it in the corner, or I could sit it up. I quite like it in the corner. I will just edge that. Now I'm using my standard, my walnut stain. And we'll just give him a little bit of an edge, which, two reasons, picks up that edge, but it also then means that if my colours are not quite right, it gives an edge to it so that those colours are not sitting side by side. So you can see the difference. So it gives that deeper colour and stops those colours sitting right on top of one another. All right. So this is going to sit about here. Might want let's have a look. Let's have a look. As I said, I've dyed up a whole heap of and I've done up a couple of strips of these so that that one's a coffee dye and that one's a tea dye, which is a little bit lighter. All right. Just want a couple of pieces. Move those ones back to the side. And I'm just going to stick you just there like that. How's that? That looks all right. So we're all ready for Christmas? It is, I'm doing this, it's a week out, well, it's under a week now because it's the Saturday here. I tend to do these and load them up on the same day. Might have to keep a few in if I'm going to do this as a three-parter. And I need that one, I think. So it is now, 6 days till Christmas for me today doing this. I'm planning on going Christmas shopping tomorrow. I am so unorganised for Christmas. This is the worst I have ever been. Ever. Just never been like this before. I'm putting it down to the year that we've had. All right, so I need to just glue, because I just want to glue down that so that this is all still nice and loose. If I move you down a little bit, I can see where I need to glue to. And just a little strip. Now, this is just the Hilmar 450. I find it works quite well for what I want to do. It is stringy, which drives me a bit dippy. But now, if I just sit you back on there, I'm doing this on a scrap piece of paper or an old gutted book, which gives me lots of nice soft edge. And I can keep tearing my pages off as I go when they get too gunky. My disgusting old cloth, which I think now is full of gesso and paint and all the rest. Must chuck him. I go through one of these about every week. Right. Probably could have gone a little bit higher up, but it's stuck now. So this one, just down in here. I'm actually going to turn it over and stick this side. and go straight down, and then we can make just a little tag for it. Now, you were working 5 seconds ago. As I said, it is rather warm here, and it's not too warm, it's just very humid at the moment. There we go. Clean you. Once again, I've got the house to myself. Oh, it's wonderful. Husband's gone down to work to play. Both our children are at work. So we've got 18-year-old twins. They've just finished their schooling, as into year 12, and are waiting for results to find out if they get to go to university or not. So that's everything that's going on over here. With any luck, they'll both get in. Now, just hold you down, and once again, because this is a thicker paper, I'm going to use my paper clips again, just to really hold it in while it's drying, because the last thing I want is for it to come up, and I can go around that lace. So here, and then while it's drying, I can work on something else. So lots and lots of paper clips. Right. So that can just sit in there and dry. So I've got an area in here that I can put a tuck spot, that I can put a journal card. I don't want to lose so much of this beautiful, beautiful, you can hear it, scratchy. Oh, you got to love paper. So let's have a look at some of these ones that are already sitting here, done, and all the rest. Let's have a look. I've got this one. I've got that one too long, that one too long. My birds and my birds. Don't know if I want the pink. We'll think about that one. Where's that one I lost? There it is. Now. Oh. All right. This was another one I did last week. So it's double tuck, so it's not going to be adhered in. We've got this on one side. So it's just an altered playing card. And then I've popped another playing card on the back in half so that I can have a double tuck here. That might work. Sit you there for now. I actually think I want something slightly narrower. So we might actually use a tag on that. Let's have a look. I have a bag of they're just templates for tags. So they're in a hard plastic, I suppose, but they're great. Yeah, that's probably a better size that I want. Right, so what these, and I love these because it means I can very quickly sit it in, have a look, see if there's a size that works. And I actually think in my, oh, that's a Christmas one, in my bits and bobs, I might actually have one done up already in that size. No, they're all larger, they're all larger, they're all larger. Oh look, we'll make one, won't take long. Let's have a look. This is my bits and bobs. So as I make, I'll sit them in. Sometimes colours work, sometimes colours don't. Let's have a look. So I've got longer ones, shorter ones. They're from my last masterboard. And photos, more. Not one in that size tag, have I? No one. All right. Nope, and bits ready to do. Not one. All right, so we'll very quickly do one up. Let's have a look in. Okay. Oh, that's right, because I'm going to sit it on a bit of heavier weight cardstock. Right. So I'll get a cream. Sit you on. Just draw around you. And find my pencil. Very quickly just go down. Get my scissors. And get smaller scissors so that I can actually do these bits. And then all I'll do is just glue the bit that I want of the scrapbooking paper to the front of this. Once again, I will then ink it, which will take away any of my rough cutting. Oh, excuse me, I need. Always pays to look at the back first. All right. Give you a corner. Now, I've got some larger tags as well, but because I couldn't find templates of those, I've drawn them up to what I want, and then I just leave them in a little folder so that, again, I've got templates. That's really rough. Of tags for whenever I'm doing anything. If nothing else, it just means that I can tuck them in and see if they're about the right size. So we want this one. So just a standard glue stick. I use a blue glue, which is a Bostik one, mainly so that I can see where I'm going. The eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and I can see that I've got all the way to the edges. Put you back there. I wanted that bottom corner, which is this one. Just going to stick that there. If I stick to that side and that side, it's less trimming. That's just because I'm lazy. Right. Right, because you're that one, I can just straight away cut around you now. Maybe even get rid of the excess. How about we put some lids on some glues as we go? Right. So, cut straight around you, which then hardens it up a little bit as well so that it's not quite. So that's a very flimsy paper. This way, because I've now got it on a cardstock, it will harden it up a little bit, give it just a little bit more substance, and it'll make it become a nice journaling card. As I said, I like lots of journaling in mine. Oh, that cutting is horrific. In a perfect situation, I would wait for this guy to dry properly, but that's fine. Okay, around there, like so. Little bit of walnut stain again to hide my wonky cutting. So just around the edge. I don't want to go right onto it. I am literally just going straight around the edge to get rid. See how it then loses that real wonky cutting. Okay, so that's that one. We'll put a hole in that. Don't want that size hole. A slightly larger one, maybe that size. Just a single hole punch like that. That side should fit there. Lovely. I want to change the front of that. And this. Now, I've had this for years. Yeah, look at that. 2004, and I've probably had it all that time as well. Again, it's one of those ones that go, what am I going to use? I'll just leave that aside. But I love all these. Don't they work a treat? So we might just cut a few of these out. Like so. And across there. And then we'll work out from there what I'm going to actually do with them. Let's have a look. Ink around that one again, just to get rid of that white edge. Oh, folded him. All right. Oh, scrap paper. Like so. Oh, getting very sticky here. What I'd like is, where did I put, how much have I got showing out of that? Right, so I can stick you on there, and I'm thinking of a button or something on that. Don't want to go too far down here because otherwise the lace won't sit in my little tuck pocket that well. So just a dollop of this one. Ugh. See what I mean about stringy? Sitting in there. Stringy and messy and yucky. And maybe a button on that one. So I've not got a word button in here. No. You might work. You're a bit of... All right, let's go. I'll just give him a little bit of colour. I like that one, but I've got no, I don't want the black on there, so just a little bit of colour. And I'm not going to actually thread my button and tie it, don't think. All right, like that. Sit you back there. What do I want to? Yeah, let's just thread him with, now, oh, listen to my chair squeak, it's about to die. If you hear me yelp, it's because my chair has finally died. I have an old office chair, but I've taken the back off it. And for me, it works a treat. It keeps me sitting up straight. And I love it, but it is about ready to fall apart. Truly, really. So every time I move, it squeaks and it creaks and all the rest, and I'm just waiting for one day for it to actually just fall apart on me. So if you hear me scream during a tutorial, you know what's happened. I'm just popping a needle straight through my holes so that I've now got those on that side. Make them a little bit bigger, so stir the pot. If I can see that one, yep. That needle should go all the way through. It's not an awesome needle. Let's see if we can thread this. Now this is just normal, I don't know, crochet cotton. Do they call it crochet cotton? Knitting, hang on, let's have a look. I've still got my doobie in there. Yeah, crochet and knitting cotton. So, and I love these. I think this is actually what I've sewn my signatures in with as well. I'm not going to be able to do that. Where's my big scissors? My little scissors just don't like cottons anymore. Again, once I find something that I like, I never ever change, and my poor old scissors are so old now, but I love them. Oh, here we go. There we go. Right, so all I want to do with this one is put a knot in the top. Straight down. And straight back up through that hole. Take my needle off. And knot this one. Just straight in, just to give him a little bit more oomph. And then I'll trim him, but I want a little bit of these scissors, I tell you. Right. And then I can sit him in there like so. I'm going to trim a little bit more off that one. Well, I'm going to gnaw at that one to trim a little bit more off. So a little bit of glue in here again. Just straight down there like that. And then my button. Right. So my button's just a normal button that I've covered with a book page. Just glued on a book page to it. Painted around the outside in a black or a brown to start with. Just so that it's all covered. I think it was blue, wasn't it, to start with? There we go. So that one can now sit in there like that. And I may still put a ribbon or something on the end, but I'm going to wait until I've done more of my book to see where I want all my bits to hang out. I've left my signature threads still hanging out while I work out what I want with those ones as well. This guy, lots of nice journaling place here, but I want something else on there. For me, I like to stamp. You know I like to stamp. Let's have a look. If I sit my stamping pad down here, I can put just a vague bit going down there, which leaves all the rest still journaling. Now, I've got a large one. Here we go. This has got a really nice leaf. If I pop him down like that, it'll sit there. What I'm going to do, though, is not put it on a block. I'm going to leave it just on its acetate at the back so that I get a variegated look. So, again, with my archival inks, because they're a permanent ink, and I'm just going to go a sepia. Most of this will be done in sepia or the coffee. So and I'm not even going to make sure I've got all of it stamped, so all of it inked. So I'm just vaguely going because I want that vague look. I'm very vague at the moment. Right, sit you there. Down like that. Just give him a light push. I don't care if it doesn't all come out. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Yeah. So it's just very light, just there. It looks like it was already on the paper. And that's left more journaling for this area. All right, page over. This side and this side. This one we can still do more journaling, and I'm going to leave this all coffee page. Oh, got a little bit of a tear there. Maybe I should put another pocket down there. I find all of my coffee paper, and it's probably just me, whenever I dye my coffee paper, it really wants to tear. My tea dye paper doesn't do it. Maybe my coffee's too strong. I don't know. So I might actually, which will save that. So if I just put a strip across here, I can put a full tuck in that one. We just we'll just go straight around. So to make this one a little bit more coffee, I'll just back with my walnut stain just along my edges, because you get that beautiful edge with your coffee dyed paper, but when you trim them, you lose that edge. So as my paper is usually larger when I dye it or stain it, I walked in the other day with a little cup of coffee, a little cup of tea, and just, as I said, to do my envelopes and whatnot with this one. And my husband looked up and he went, "You going to stain again?" So I'm actually very proud of him, because he knew what it was that I was doing. Gave me a warm and fuzzy moment. Right, so this one, and I've got. Because we're more into the coffee, I want the larger ones of these. And I should have, these are very, very green though. Very green, very green, very green. Not quite. I have these ones. These are just tiles, but you can see I've used lots of these. I haven't got many of these ones left. They kind of go the wrong way. But if I stick them on something else first, see, that's all I'm going to need to cover that, which gives me just a little bit of a tuck pocket, which will allow something else to go into. So I want, cut you about there. Nice and straight. You saw how straight that was? That was just so straight. And a little bit long. That side doesn't look straight at all, does it? How about we try and straighten it up? I'll put this one down. Get rid of that one. Get rid of those ones. Set that there. Let's see how straight it was. Oh, it wasn't too bad. Just a little bit smaller. See if you fit now. Something's out of whack. It's probably my coffee dye paper. I'd say it's my paper in the first place, but that's all right. We can rectify that. Let's have a look. I want you over there, because I don't want it to go all the way in. Still a little bit further out. All right. That's so wonky. That'll do. All right. So, have I got walnut stain? Yes, I have. What I might actually do is just stamp straight on this one. Going down. Give him a little bit more, but in the antique linen. I'm just going to rub straight over that, just to yellow him up a little bit, because he's quite cream. Straight down like that. Just see how it's taken that starkness just a little bit from it, and we might stamp. There's bound to be a stamp sitting on my desk somewhere. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's postcards. If I just do that, in the coffee, but I'm going to put this one on a block because I only want the top bit, because I want a full image, proper image. So if I just sit you there, and I only need to ink up that top section. It does usually help if you have this empty. Nothing underneath your stamp when you're inking it up. We just move them to the side. All right. So we'll just go straight down, a little bit over, but evened up. Give him a good push because I want a full image this time. Like that. Beautiful. So now with my brushed corduroy, so then I go to all these different inks. So brushed corduroy this time. And I'm going to go a little bit further in and around that stamped image. Because the stamped image wasn't quite the full length of my strip, and now it looks even and all the rest, and it looks like something that I meant to do, if that makes sense. Right, well, pop you on this one. And my glue, just so that I don't go over. Which way am I going? That's the top. So we're going all the way down these three sides. My glue's not liking me today. I thought I cleaned it. So many pins sitting around. Straight down. I think my tip's getting a little bit gunky. Right, there we go. Double check that I'm the right way up. That always helps. Don't worry if you've done it. We've all done it. Just wipe your glue off, wait for the glue to dry, and then start again. You haven't ruined your piece completely, but just wait for it to dry and then you're right. Okay. So this one's going to go in here. Just so that it shores up that. You've got time to wiggle it around a little bit. That way it's shored up that piece that was slightly torn. Once again, I will put some paper clips on that, because I've got them here for just such an occasion. There we go. Down there. Across there. And down this end piece. Which will hold all that in place, and I'll go all the way down there. That's it. Right. That's just ready for another tuck. So we've done this one, of course, which was already done, so I cheated. We've done this one. Journaling space in here. Journaling space if you want behind it. Otherwise, you've got a tag that can sit in here. So this one I made last week, and he's way too tall for this album. So we'll just tuck him out of the way. Oh, he's not going to fit. He might go into one of those. Let's just... He needs one of those sorts of ones, doesn't he? We might just tuck him there so I don't lose him. And I've got in here... I should have some more in that sizing. That will work. There you go. Right, so she's done, and she's just, again, an altered playing card. Book paper, just some scraps, and serviette. Just the top layer of a serviette, but what it actually is, it's actually the bottom layer. I've stamped on the serviette with a stamp. Here we go. Yeah, so my favourite stamps always sit out. That's the stamp. And so I've stamped this image on here in a permanent ink. So one of my archival inks just in the black. And then adhered her onto the card. I've then put some coffee dyed paper on the back of the card, which makes more journaling space. That's done like that. How's that one? Right. My doily at this stage I'm going to leave. I may stick a cluster or something on here. They're a fairly flimsy doily and I don't want to tear it. Over onto this page and then we'll do an envelope. We've been on for 45 minutes or a bit over, so we'll leave this one and come back to part 2. Thank you guys for that. We're going to work our way through our journal and get him all sorted. If you're having fun with me, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas if I don't get back before Christmas with this one. I'm hoping to, but if I don't, have a lovely Christmas. And I will see you before the end of the new year. Thanks, guys. Bye.